All right, Mr. Ahmed here for 7.6. This is probably the toughest lesson that we're going to work on this chapter, and it involves factoring polynomials yet again. But in this time, our TLC is going to be greater than 1. So when we start factoring that process with the TLC greater than 1, it brings in more options. It's not always going to be x and x first when we unfoil it. So that just makes it a little bit tougher as we progress. So a little warm-up question here says a factor, in this case, the leading coefficient a, keep in mind, ax squared, our first term's a, or our first coefficient's a, our second coefficient is b, and the constant is the c, okay? So this little warm-up question brings back the GCF. 3 goes into 3, 3 goes into 9, and 3 goes into 54, so I can factor out a 3. So if I factor out a 3, left inside, I'm dividing all terms by 3. 3 divided by 3 just gets me my x squared. Negative 9 divided by 3 is negative 3. And 54 divided by 3 is 18. And I have a minus 18. Now from there, we could go along and factor this a little bit further, but that's going to be for a later day. So this was just a little warm-up question. So when we have a leading coefficient greater than 1, there's 2 methods we can use. And the first method is the guess and check method. This one could take some time, especially if you can't FOIL well in your head. So essentially what we're going to look to do is we're going to set up our 2 sets of parentheses, and we're going to try and factor this. Okay, so we have a 2x squared. So for me to get 2x squared, I have to take 2x times x. So that changes things, okay? I mean, when I start setting up my signs and everything, it brings in a lot more options. So factors of 3 that add up to 7, well, there are none. So I just have to use the only factors of 3, which are 3 and 1. So I'm going to put down like a plus 3 and a minus 1. Now I have to check and see if I got it right. So when I FOIL it out, I'd get 2x squared minus 2x plus 3x. That does not add up to negative 7. I got it wrong. So I'd have to try another way. And I'd set it up again using something different. So I'd set up my 2 sets of parentheses again, 2x. Now let's see, how did I go wrong here? For me to get a negative 7, somewhere along the lines, I'm going to have to multiply some bigger numbers together. I think I also made a mistake on my signs. I should have had a minus for both of them. So I got to rewrite this down again and see how else I could change it up. So this time I'm going to write 2x minus 1 and x minus 3. So I changed up the order there. I put the 1 with the 2x, I put the 3 with the x. Both signs are negative, which they should have been the last time. I didn't catch that very well. So nonetheless, it still wouldn't have worked. It was incorrect. It's out. So here we go. Let's check this one. 2x times x is 2x squared. I'm running out of room already too, so I'm going to write it above it. 2x times negative 3 is negative 6x. Negative 1 times x is negative 1x. And negative 1 times negative 3 is a positive 3. So this time, I got it right. These ones work. We got it. This is the correct way. So kind of as you're noticing here, the guess and check method could take a lot of time. And it's even worse if these 2 numbers aren't prime. That even brings more variables in. Like, I mean, if this were an 8, I'd have to try a 4, I'd have to try a 2, I'd have to try an 8, I'd have to try a 1. And it really can be pretty tedious unless you can kind of do it in your head. So I'm going to try this one. I'm going to speak through it in my head. I know 3 is prime, so I have a 3x and an x. That's the only way I can get to 3. 3x times x, 3x squared. 5 is also prime. I have to have a plus and I have to have a minus. And it's going to have to add up to 2. So for this to add up to 2, I cannot take 3 times 5. That's going to be too big. So the 5 is going to have to go here. Now, I'm going to have to put my 1 here. Now the key is, where's my plus go? Where's my minus go? So I'm kind of doing this in my head a little bit here. 3, that can't be negative. Or yeah, I got to put the positive with the 5, the negative with the 1. So I'm able to do that in my head. Now we'll check. 3x squared minus 3x plus 5x minus 3 plus 5 is going to get us our 2. And we also have our minus 5. So ultimately, if you can kind of FOIL these out in your head, the guess and check method, it can work pretty slick. But if you can't, it can be a long process of guessing and checking. So we're going to show you another method. This is what we call the AC method. In order for us to do the AC method, we're going to have to think of the standard form. AX squared plus BX plus C. We're going to multiply A and C together. Okay, so A times C. In this case, A is 2, B is 7, C is 3. A times C, 2 times 3 is 6. So we know A times C is 6. So now what we're going to do is we're going to find two numbers that multiply to AC and add up to the middle number, which is B. Okay, so two numbers that multiply to A and C that add up to B. So our factors of AC, factors of 6 that add up to 7, are 6 and 1. 6 times 1 is 6. 6 plus 1 gets us our middle term of 7. Now we're going to rewrite it. Okay, so we have to rewrite it. We're going to replace this 7 with a 6 and a 1. So I'd have 2x squared plus 6x plus 1x plus 3. And from here we use the grouping method. All right, so to factor by grouping, what I do is I factor the GCF out of the first two terms. Doesn't matter the order. So I'm going to factor the GCF out of these two. And then I am going to factor the GCF out of the second two. That's what I got to do. So let's see. Factoring out the GCF. 2 goes into 2 and 6. So I'm going to take out a 2. And I can also take out an x. When I divide it, you got to be able to do this in my head a little bit here. Okay. And here my GCF is 1. So I'm going to divide by 2. So when I factor this by grouping, I am going to be left with 2x parentheses. What's left inside here? I have to divide both these by 2x, okay? 2x squared divided by 2x is just an x. All right. 6x divided by 2x is a plus 3. So if I were to distribute this back out, I'd have 2x squared plus 6x. We got the first part. Plus 1. That's my other GCF. Left inside is going to be dividing by 1, just an x plus 3. Doesn't change it. Now, for the grouping method to work, these two values inside the parentheses have to be the same. So for us to finish up the factoring, we take what's outside, put those in the first set, okay? 2x plus 1. Inside the other set is the common set of parentheses, which is x plus 3. And then we'd write our answer out in that format. 2x plus 1 times x plus 3. You could distribute it out to check your work, okay? So I'm going to do a few more. Let's kind of put it into words. That's the AC method. We got a couple more examples here. So first step, we have to multiply A and C. So we're looking for A is 4, B is 12, C is 5. So A times C is equal to 4 times 5, that's 20. Now we have to find the factors of 20 that add up to the middle term of 12. So factors of 20 that add up to 12 are 10 and 2. Okay, 10 plus 2 is 12. And that's our B. That's that middle term. So now we can rewrite it. 4x squared plus 10x plus 2x plus 5. Now we factor by grouping. For the first two terms, the GCF is 2x. When I pull out the GCF of 2x, I'm left with 2x plus 5. GCF of the second two is just 1. Nothing else goes into 2 and 5. So plus 1 outside the parentheses. Left inside when I divide is 2x plus 5. Notice our parentheses are the same. So we take what's outside, which is 2x plus 1. Put that in the first set. Take the common group of parentheses and put it in the second. That's 2x plus 5 and we have it factored. You could FOIL it out to check your work. Okay? Another one. A times C. Let's label them out. A is equal to 3. B is equal to -8. C is equal to 4. AC is equal to 12. B is equal to -8. So we need factors of 12 that add up to -8. So our factors of 12 that add up to -8 are going to be -6 and -2. -6 plus -2 is -8. -6 times -2 is positive 12. So we got it. Now we rewrite. 3x squared minus 6x minus 2x plus 4. Okay, so we replace the middle term. The first term and the last term stay the same. Now we can factor by grouping. So what goes into the first two? 3x. Outside the parentheses goes the 3x. Left inside after we divide is x minus 2. Now for the next one, since this first one's negative, I'm going to pull out a negative number, and the GCF is 2. So I'm taking out a -2. Left inside, a negative divided by a negative changes this to a positive x. 4 divided by -2 is -2. So that makes our signs correct inside the parentheses. The signs have to be the same as well. I can't have this be a -x and a +2. Okay? So now we can rewrite it. Take the 2 that's outside, 3x minus 2. Bam, bam. And the common set is x minus 2. We have it factored. All right, there's 2 left. Hit pause, give the U-try a shot. Then come back and check your work. All right, hopefully you had some success. A times C. I'm not writing A, B, and C this time. A is 6, C is 5, A times C is 30. B is equal to 17. So we need factors of 30 that add up to 17. That's 15 and 2. Okay, 15 plus 2 is 17. 15 times 2 is 30. All right, now we rewrite the middle term. The first term stays the same, 6x squared. Doesn't matter the order. Plus 15x plus 2x plus 5. All right, now GCF of the first two is 3x. 3x on the outside. Left inside is 2x plus 5. GCF of the second two is just 1. Plus 1. Left inside, 2x plus 5. Our parentheses match. Now we get to finish. 3x plus 1 in the first set. Second set is 2x plus 5. We got it. All right, one more. A times C is equal to -20. B is equal to -8. So we need factors of -20 that add up to -8. That'd be a -10 and a +2. -10 plus 2 is -8. -10 times 2 is -20. All right, rewrite the middle term. 4x squared minus 10x plus 2x minus 5. Last term stays the same. GCF of the first terms is 2x. 2x on the outside, left inside is 2x minus 5. And again, nothing goes into 2 and 5, so we're just taking out a 1 plus 1. Left inside is 2x minus 5. Rewrite it. Outer 2 first, 2x and a plus 1. And the common set of parentheses is 2x minus 5. We have it factored. That's it for today. Have a good one.